Hello, everyone, and welcome to Palcast. Palcast is a podcast brought to you by Yusuf Al Jamal here in Sakarya, Turkey, and Tony Groves in Dublin, Ireland. Today is Tuesday, March 10, and it's 4 p.m. local time here in Sakarya. Palestinians and everyone all over the world celebrated International Women's Day just a couple of days ago. And in Gaza, Israel killed 3 Palestinian women in their tent, including a journalist, bringing the number of Palestinian journalists killed in Gaza by Israel since the beginning of the genocide in October 2023 to 261. This is the reality. And we continue to tell the stories of the people of Gaza. Today we have Heba Zeineddin, and she joins us from Deir el-Balah. She lives in a tent. She's a graduate of English language and teaching methods from Alaqsa University in Gaza City, and she teaches Arabic to non-Arabic speakers. So, Tony, if you're interested in learning Arabic, here's a teacher for you to sign up.
Heba, I'm sorry, I can barely speak English. Never mind Arabic.
Yeah. we
It's
know
okay,
that.
I can teach you.
Yeah. So thank you very much for joining us, and thank you to our co-sponsors, the Hashim Sani Center for Palestinian Studies and Just World Education, and of course Tony's Shack Media that allowed us to continue this conversation on Gaza. As you said, you join us from Deir el-Balah. Why do you join us from Deir el-Balah? You told us just now that you're from Gaza City.
Yeah, to be honest, we can start from the beginning. When I was at my home on October 7 with my family, we woke up to the sound of explosions and chaos everywhere. So since that moment, our life is completely stopped. In a single moment, everything my family had built was reduced to dust. So we have to evacuate as soon as possible. So we evacuated from the north of Gaza to the south of Gaza. And now here we are in Deir el-Balah. We live in a tent, like many people in Gaza. In addition to my home, the place where my memories lived, where I felt safe, was destroyed in the intense pumping at the beginning of the genocide in October 2023. Yeah, that's it. That's why
Where
I'm
was your
joining.
home located exactly?
It was in the north of Gaza, in Mashru' Beit Lahia.
Yeah, it was badly damaged there. Like the entire
Yeah,
town was
yeah.
reduced to rubble.
Yeah, we lost it completely, destroyed at the beginning of the war. So we have to evacuate it since the beginning. So it's almost, we have been displaced 12 times actually.
Could you please take us through this journey of displacement? What it means? How were you displaced? Where did you go? What were the struggles you faced, etc.?
Yeah. To be honest, what followed was not just displacement, but 2 years and a half of relentless fear, loss, and uncertainty. Like many people in Gaza, we were forced to leave our homes. We moved from one place to another place, searching for, somewhere safer, but there was no truly safe place. Displacement is exhausting, both physically and emotionally, every time you have to move, or you don't have a choice actually. You have to carry your belongings, or it's actually few belongings. You have to leave everything behind you. For me, I left my home, I left my belongings, my memories, everything, and just escape to the unknown place. You know, you
How
you
many of you?
carry.
You have a family. How many of you, and
Yeah,
what ages, and where did you
we
go?
are a family of 7. I am the oldest girl, and it's 3 brothers and 2 sisters. And one of my brothers, he's a special need, and he needs very careful treat, and everything we go or we have is so strange for him. So dealing with him, it was so hard for us and so challenging, also, to be honest. But we did it. We managed at some points. Sometimes we find it so hard to find a place. But every day it was became about one thing only: keeping my family alive. As I told you, we have been displaced 12 times. 12 times we gathered the few belongings we had left. 12 times we moved toward places that promised safety, but we don't have any choice. You have to do it. So unless you didn't do it, you're gonna die at the north of Gaza.
So for 12 times, where did you go every time? Can you tell us quickly? Like, did you go to a tent, family?
Yeah, first of all, we went to Khan Yunis and we rent an apartment. It was, expensive, but at that time we can barely afford it. After that, we went to Rafah and we live in tent. Actually, it was so hard, and it's still hard to live in a tent because we faced um, extremely hard conditions and circumstances. And I think from my perspective, live in a tent is the worst thing that you can experience or live in.
How was that? Like, was it cold at the time? Was it crowded? No privacy? Did you have to cook? Was it rainy? Please tell us more about this.
Yeah, it is. It's no privacy at all in tent, and it's like you sleep in the street. The tent is simply couldn't protect you from the cold, the extreme heat, but you have to adapt. You don't have any choice. That's why I escape, actually. Some points I can't stand it. I just escape from this miserable situation, go somewhere, go to my workspace, see my friends, and stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, you have to come back to your tent and face, oh my God, what's going on? We are a family of 7, so it's extremely no privacy. You don't have even a place to relax, to eat properly. It's crowded, as I said also, because we are 7. You have only this small spot you live in. You do everything in this small spot. You eat, you sleep,
How was it for
you
your
study.
sibling? You mentioned that you have a sibling who has special needs, moving to the tent and having this totally different life from the
Yes.
life you had before, where you felt safe in your home that was destroyed. How was the experience of your sibling with special needs in the tent?
Yeah, it was, extremely hard. And I have, um, let's say, I struggle also to find apartment for him. Every single evacuation or displacement, me and my father struggle to find a suitable place for him because, live in a tent, it's something disgusting. Sorry for this. But at the end of that, we can't afford, rent an apartment. It's so expensive, and
Just
sometimes
to
we
give
can't
our
afford
audience
it.
an idea about rent in Gaza and the prices at the time, how much did landlords ask you to pay for an apartment of 2 or 3 bedrooms?
Um, it's $500. You
And
have
what
to
would
pay every single month.
and what would that have been before the genocide started?
Before the genocide, it's only $100. You
So
have to pay
500.
every
So yeah.
single
So
month. Yes.
a 500% increase.
Yeah, and And it
Unbelievable.
got to $1,000 sometimes, Tony. Sometimes
Oh yeah,
1,500. It depends on
which
where and
means yeah,
when.
which means people have to rely on money being
It's
sent from
different, yeah.
abroad because you can't make that type of money in
Yeah.
Gaza now. Can I ask, Heba, you said about when you said about being displaced, that it means so much more than being displaced. Can I ask what you feel like you left behind? Because you're talking about what you're doing to survive, but can I ask you a bit what you feel like about what you left behind?
Yeah, well, I left everything, you know. I left the place or the environment I raised in. I left my neighborhood, my friends, my clothes even. I didn't carry anything with me. We just escaped under the rappels and the pumping. We didn't take anything with us. And it was extremely hard because you have to build it again. You have to buy new things for you and for your whole family. You have to buy new clothes, new things, and the stuff.
But But was there one or two things that you left behind? Because we've had people, we had one individual a couple of weeks ago who had to go back and retrieve his PhD thesis that was left behind. Are there one or two things that you kind of feel you've lost and that were precious to you?
Actually, all my certificates. Actually, I didn't have anything of these, and it was something that, to be honest, at that time, we didn't think about these things because the only thing that we think about is how to survive, how to keep your family survive such or under such these hard circumstances. We didn't think about, certificates, clothes, even our things at home. The only thing that we think about is how to survive, how to escape.
Yeah, no, thank you. I just, because it's that sentence you said, it's so much more than displacement. It strikes me that people need to understand that it's
Yeah.
a complete
And,
change.
and
Yeah,
Tony,
yeah,
it's
it's not a
also,
journey. Also, it's not a journey.
Mm, mm.
I am talking about displacement, and you can't choose that. It's evacuation orders, and you have to do it. You have to carry all, you know, or the few belongings, and just escape with your family.
yeah. And it's also not only, um, losing certificates in another country, you can get a replacement, but in Gaza, you cannot. Once you lose them, up until now, you cannot get these certificates back. And it means you cannot apply for jobs, you cannot apply for scholarships, and not just certificates, IDs. If you lose your ID, you cannot get a replacement or your passport. So it determines your life in many different ways. I want to go back to the time Gaza experienced starvation and
Yeah,
famine caused by
yeah,
Israel. Uh, what do you remember about that time and having to move with your family and
yeah,
your sibling who has a disability, um, and especially these days in Ramadan, it's the holy month of fasting in Gaza. How do you connect fasting, and does it remind you of anything from this particular time in Gaza where you
yeah.
experienced starvation?
Okay, to start with starvation, at that time, accessing food and clean water became one of the biggest and hardest struggles. I can remember that markets were empty, were limited, and sometimes we had to wait in long lines just to get a small amount of food or water for your family. So these things, it's so normal before war, but now suddenly, or it's completely changed. It became very difficult to find, very difficult to have even bread for your family. I can remember that we had to carry water ourselves every day, sometimes walk in a long distance to get a small amount. So access to food and medicine was very limited. You know, the border crossings closed, and also access to basic hygiene products was also almost impossible sometimes. We couldn't shower properly and sometimes went days without cleaning ourselves. So life at that time felt something like unbearable, even for simple things like staying clean. But as I said, and I always say that we don't have any choice. We have to adapt, we have to accept the situation, and we can do our best in that. Um, According to Ramadan, it's a holy month, as you said. And actually, to be honest, it's our third Ramadan and or during this genocide, and it reminds me of what we were lost and how much life has changed. Spending or spent Ramadan before the war, it was about gathering, about enjoying meals with your friends, with your families. But now I really miss my home more than words can describe. I really miss the gathering we had before the war. It's like something difficult to explain also, especially after loss, after sense of uncertainty. Many people gather today in Ramadan, and unfortunately, they don't have one of their members. They maybe lost mom, dad, sister, or brother, or even their best friends. It's complicated, actually. And yeah, that's it, according to
So,
Ramadan.
how was the starvation phase for your family, especially that you lived in a tent, you didn't have much space to, store food. Um, Please tell us more about that and like your access to food during that time.
Okay, I can remember, or it's something I can always want to forget it, but the reality is not like that. At that time, we survived, or we almost survived, because my brother would, or he tried to go to the aid distribution points to get food for us. It was very dangerous, to be honest, and many young men were killed or shot there. But as I said, there is no choice. You have to go for death to feed your kids or children, or your children will die from starvation. It's something people risk their lives at that moment. And every time my brother left, we were terrified, scared. Maybe he would not return. But to be honest, I can't. I can't also find words to describe this. I can remember my mom and her feelings about her son when he went to this places or to these places.
Death
It's
traps.
like, yeah,
Did,
it's like you go to death. You may die there in order to get flour or rice for your family.
Did you have days where you didn't have food at all in the tent?
Absolutely. Every Gazan people have or has these days. I can remember that we have run of flour for 3 days. We only have rice, and we have to cook every day for our family and siblings the same meal. But we can't complain because you um, you have to eat it.
mm. I interviewed the Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Aguilar a couple of days ago, who was the whistleblower on the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which were these kill zones, Yusuf, and he was the guy who said what's happening here is they're bringing these young men or these people to these locations, and then they're opening fire on them. And it's terrifying to think that there's so many war crimes that have taken place that we want justice for them all, but this is just one further war crime. And it obviously had an impact on you, Heba, watching your brother having to go out and you not knowing whether he was going to come back. And if he came back, did he have a bag of rice? Did he have some lentils? Did he have whatever they could carry or take away? So
Yeah,
there's so much that justice needs to be, people need to be held accountable for. But it's very concerning, when you see it with what's happening even today. People have lost focus on Gaza because of events in Iran, and we see, Yusuf is right to point out that this is not, Yusuf, you wrote recently, this is not, the genocide hasn't ended, it just entered a different phase.
Absolutely. And again, the ceasefire in Gaza is only the silence between two Israeli airstrikes. And just now, literally 30 minutes ago, Israel targeted Gaza, a charging point, phones charging point. Even people are not allowed to charge their phones. Uh, and the genocide continues in many different ways, and it has different phases.
yeah, yeah.
Um, we mentioned in the introduction that you teach Arabic for non
Yes.
Arabic speakers. Did you do this during the genocide, and for how long have you been doing this? And who are your students? Where they come
Yeah.
from?
Yeah. At the beginning of the genocide, I lost my job. Unfortunately, it's about 50 students became without teacher. I emailed them saying that there is war and I can't carry on with my work, and there is no actually internet or electricity to continue my work. So from that moment, it's a strange feeling that I felt because my job, it's like, um, it's the only way that I can find myself through. When I see these little kids learn Arabic or how to read Arabic, how to read Quran also, and some Islamic studies, it gives me a strong feeling of happiness. But after maybe a year or 2 years, actually, I came back. I struggle to find a place that provide internet and electricity, but I managed to do it. I emailed them again and I said to them, Miss Hiba is coming back. And it's like, oh my God, we are so happy because we have you back. Um, so it was a challenge for me, to be honest. It's, you go to work under also pumping. Maybe you go to your workplace, but you didn't come back to your family. But I did it actually. I did it because of me and my family also, so I could provide for my family.
And
And
did
now,
your students and their families know about Palestine and Gaza before the genocide? And how did the genocide and your relationship with them impact their knowledge and action vis-a-vis what happened in Gaza and like taking action where they live?
yeah, they are completely understand the situation here, and they already know about Gaza before war because I used to teach them and I used to tell them more about Gaza and Palestine in general, and especially Al-Aqsa Mosque, telling them it's, specific place. And to be honest, some students don't know about Palestine at all. So it was my duty to explain about Gaza and the situation. There are some students from America, from the UK, Norway. Um, right now, I give or I provide classes for them. but recently I'm busy with, applying for universities and a scholarship.
So that's your plan now. You're applying for scholarships to continue your graduate studies.
Yes, I'm seeking, uh, about or to continue my master's degree in TESOL. It's about teaching English to or to other languages or to
Second language.
speakers of other languages. Yes. The thing I used to do before the war, actually, I used to teach English to students in Gaza, but not anymore because everything is destroyed here in Gaza. Um, so actually, I have applied for universities in the UK, Ireland, and Italy, and I have got 3 unconditional offers from Aberdeen, Bristol, and Glasgow universities. And the only thing remained is securing a fully funded scholarship.
Also, Heba, it's very cold in Scotland.
Yes, I know that, but it's my dream to go to Edinburgh actually or Glasgow
Oh, Edinburgh's
one day.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Edinburgh's
so
beautiful.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story with us today. We wish you very good luck, and we pray that you get a scholarship. And again, anyone listening to this podcast who can help secure a scholarship for Heba, please do that. Thank you again, and thank you, Tony, and thank you again to Just Word Educational and the Tosis Shack Media and the Hashim Sani Center for allowing this to
Thank
continue
you.
this
Thank you so
conversation.
much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me today.
Thanks.
Pleasure. Talk to you soon, folks. Bye-bye.
The hospitals, the sacred rooms of the wounded, sick and dead. Those crowded halls, a last refuge. They can't be touched, it is said. They can't be touched by the weapons of war, weapons sent to destroy. They can't be touched, says the rule of law, that the world is protected by. But not in Gaza, but not in Gaza, but not in Gaza, but not in Gaza. Cry for food to stay alive, a child's cry to be fed. Forced starvation is a crime, and it can't be used, it is said. It can't be used as a weapon of war, as an act of genocide. Can't be used, says the rule of law, that the world is protected by. But not in Gaza, but not in Gaza, but not in Gaza, but not in Gaza. Hospitals are not a target. Patients are not a target. Nurses are not a target. Doctors are not a target. Health workers are not a target. Aid workers are not a target. Journalists are not a target. Civilians are not a target. Children 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 are not a target.